What is up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about how to spool a bait caster. Now, this is for a lot of you beginner anglers that are just now getting into using a bait caster. So, it's not really that hard. Today I'm going to be spooling mine with 17-pound monofilament Berkeley trilene. And I use this a lot for my topwater rods, and sometimes for my Texas rig rods, and every now and again I'll use it for my Carolina rigs. But what we're gonna do first is you're gonna take your line right there and you're gonna thread it through all of your eyes on your fishing pole. Sorry, you can't really see much with my hands in the way, but you're just gonna thread it through all of the eyes. Like that. Okay, now that you have your line through all of your eyes, this is a very important step because a lot of people forget to do this and it'll mess up your whole day. There's a little eye, sorry, I gotta flip that around. There's a little eye in the reel right there. You're just gonna thread the line right through that eye. Okay, now that the line is through the eye, on some bait casters, they have holes in the spools. This one, it only has one hole, so that doesn't really do much good for you. But what I like to do, and you don't really have to do this, is take the side plate off. Sorry, I just gotta crank it to open. Take the side plate off, like this. There we go, like this. And then take your spool out, and this is easy to put back in. It's a two-step process to put back in. You take your line, you put it through the spool hole right here, and then that gives you free range to tie your line around your spool. So what I'm just gonna do here is I'm gonna get it around the spool, and I'm gonna tie a simple double knot, which is, it's not like this is gonna hold a giant fish, but most of the time you're not really getting to the bottom of your spool while bass fishing. So I'm just gonna tie a simple double knot like this. And now that you have that knot tied around the spool, you can kind of see it right there. You just take your slack, or take your excess end right there, and, oh, there's my pliers. You're gonna take your pliers, or your knife, whatever you have, and you're just gonna cut it, like right at the top of the spool, like right there. That way you still have your knot, and you have a little bit of slack. Focus, camera, focus. And you can't really see much right there, but you got that knot tied. And now that you have all of your line through your eye on your rod, you're gonna put your spool back in like this. The side with the pole goes next to the reel. You're gonna put your spool back in. Dang it, I say that. It's a lot easier than it sounds. Okay, so now that it's in, you're gonna take your side plate of your reel and you're going to put it back on this side first. You're gonna put it back onto the reel facing down. Then you're just gonna push it in and pull up. And then from there, I like to keep mine set at 2. This is for only the Corrados and like all the Shimano reels, but, or well, except for the SLX. But now that you have this, if you have a partner, you can thread a pencil through the hole right there, But I don't have a partner with me, so I'm just gonna set the spool on the floor and keep tension to your line at all times, unless you've got a partner that can keep tension. So if you're alone, you're just gonna wanna hold tension like this and just start reeling. And wherever you feel like is enough line for you is where you stop. But I'm just gonna go ahead and start reeling till I feel like I have enough line. Okay, now that you have all of your line on there, oh wait, dang it. Now that you have all of your line on there, however your thumb feels comfortable is mainly where I would put it. Honestly, I might put a little bit more on there. Okay, now, wherever your thumb feels comfortable is where you want it. So right there, my thumb feels comfortable and you can actually rest it on there. So what you're gonna do now, my spool ran away, sorry. What you're gonna do now is you're gonna take your line. Since it's already threaded through the eyes, it's practically ready to put a lure on. So, it got tangled around my pole, sorry guys. Okay, now that you've got it out, you're gonna take, and however much line you think you need out, you're gonna cut off the spool. And some spools have a little notch that goes in the side. This one does not. So, it normally comes with a piece of tape. It seems I've lost my tape. So, if you have to, you can make a notch, or if you have tape, put the tape back on your excess line. Now, the most important part of your reel, tying your lure on. Me personally, I like to use the Palomar knot. It is, in my opinion, one of the strongest knots you can tie. But if you have any knots you like to use, you can use them. And another thing while spooling your reels is if you have like slack line and weak parts in the line, cut the line off. Like say with this right here, say a foot of it is all like slack and it doesn't want to work right. Cut it off, because that 5 seconds that you use to cut it off will save you a fish, because eventually that line will just get so messed up that you'll lose fish and it'll break off. So now we're gonna get into the knot tying. Okay, you're gonna double your line over like this and you're gonna make it a loop. You're gonna take this end right here and just leave it like this. And you're gonna pinch it down, and then you're gonna take this line right here, can't really see because my finger, and put it through the eyelid of the lure, or whatever you wanna call it. But now that you have that, you're gonna take your line right here and put it around this side, and then you're gonna take the line that you put around, go through the hole and pull it, and then this is the most important step. You're gonna take your line and wrap it over the bait. And after you do that, after you get it past all the hooks and everything else, dang, I'm still hung on a hook. Okay, now that you do that, you're gonna pull it semi-tight, and you're just gonna get it sort of tight, not all the way. You're gonna wet it, and then you're just gonna pull it tight. And that's how you tie a Palomar knot. And in my opinion, that is the strongest knot you can use. And a lot of times, in the case of a Palomar knot, your line will break before your knot does. Because every fish that I've ever caught on a Palomar knot has not broke the knot. Ever. I've never broke the knot on a fish using the Palomar knot. I've broke I've broke off my line using a Palomar knot, but that's because I wasn't using heavy enough line. But whatever line you're using, or whatever lure you're using, basically says what kind of line you should be using. So for top waters, you want to use like braid or monofilament. Sometimes you can use fluorocarbon. But for Texas rigs, I like to throw fluorocarbon. And fluorocarbon to the fish, clear fluorocarbon, is almost invisible to them. But it doesn't really matter unless you're using like yellow braid, and then the fish can really see it. But fish aren't the smartest anyways, because they're eating your lure, right? So any like fluorocarbon or monofilament in a green, or even braid in a moss green, is really good for fishing. But now that you've done all that, a lot of fishing poles have hook holders on them. But if you don't, if you don't, then you can hook them up to the face of your reel. But if you do have a hook holder, ow, that just went in my leg. But if you do have a hook holder, get back here. Sorry, technical difficulties. If you do have a hook holder, a lot of times they'll be on the front of your rod right there, or on the back. This one's on the back, so you're just gonna take your hook, put it through there, and reel in your slack. And after that, you just leave it like this. If you have rod socks, put on your rod sock, and you'll be done. Now that one's ready. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and please like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.